Hey everybody, I got the new Fear Factory album, Genexus, in the mail the other day, and I really wanted to listen to it for a while, really let it sink in before I made a video to talk about it, and a few days have passed. I'm ready to talk, so let's go. So, the new album, Genexus, the artwork is awesome, the CD is, it's glossy, high quality gloss. Even the booklet is high quality gloss. So I'm old school. I like to actually have the physical release. Fuck downloads. Fuck downloads. But it also came with this nifty shirt and an autographed poster from the band. Just another to add to my collection. I have tons of autographs. I have pretty much every Fear Factory album autographed. I've met them tons of times. I've seen them countless times. Let me give you a little bit of history here. I've been into Fear Factory since Soul of a New Machine. Saw them for the very first time on the Chaos AD tour with Sepultura, and I was just blown away. Badass death metal band comes up on stage. We're all banging our heads. Next thing you know, vocalist is busting out what my friends and I called back then an angel voice. We had never heard anything like it. And I'll never forget that show, especially since it was on the day Kurt Cobain was found dead. And Burton C. Bell actually dedicated a song to the late Kurt Cobain, and that's actually how I found out Kurt Cobain had committed suicide. That's how I found out he was dead from Fear Factory. So I was an instant fan, and I even remember the day 20 years ago, last summer in '95, when The Manufacturer came out. I was down at the CD store, Angelo's CDs and Tapes in Aurora, Colorado, and saw the new Fear Factory, picked it up, smoked a joint on the way home, popped the CD in, and was blown the fuck away. My life was changed after that CD, and so was metal for that matter. So, anyway, enough of that, let's talk about the new album. So a lot of people were disappointed with The Industrialist, the album previous to this. I felt that album was excellent. I liked it better than Mechanized. I'm probably in the minority there. But Genexus takes it a step further. It's another concept album, this time in regards to Man and Machine once again, but this time becoming as one, kind of hybrid or cyborg in yet again another dystopian future, the brainchild of Burton C. Bell. So immediately the album busts out with blistering beats, and immediately you're in another dystopian, mechanized future. The environment Fear Factory envelops you in with their music is just incredible, and it's always one of the main things that has always kept me interested with Fear Factory is the ambience, just the environment that the music sets you in. Beginning from Obsolete, I have always just pictured like a Blade Runner type bleak future, just dark, and it's just amazing. It's one of the things I love about Fear Factory. So Autonomous Combat System is the first track, and it just, it kicks in immediately with the idea of man and machine becoming one concept, and it just goes from there.
The next step in evolution is a machine that can think and feel.
Good opening track, not their strongest track, but Fear Factory usually doesn't use their strongest track to open an album. Again, that's the case here. The next song kicks in, Anodized, is just awesome. Catchy as hell chorus. Just take a listen. And again, the subject is the combination of man and machine. Excellent song. And there's a few early tracks that Fear Factory released out on YouTube with some videos. Electric is one excellent song. It's got the keyboards. I mean, Reese Fulber is back and forth. As long as he's on the table with Fear Factory, you know you're going to get some good keyboards. You know you're going to get some good industrial sound. Electric is a great song, great track. And you may have read the Blabbermouth review of this album, and the reviewer compared the complete whole album, to a cross between Digimortal and Transgression, and let me start off by saying that is completely inaccurate, except for one song. One song I would say is definitely a combination of Digimortal and Transgression, and that's not a bad thing by any means. This song would be called Soul Hacker, and the drummer is actually Dean Castronovo. He's played with bands such as Journey, but he even played with Bert early on with Geezer's band GZR back in the days. So Bert's actually already shared some music with this drummer. So they brought him in just for this one song. It definitely has a more mainstream sound, but it's great. I mean, I'm not saying that as a bad thing. It's a good song. One of the things people griped about from the Industrialist is that Fear Factory actually programmed all of the drumming on the album and gave it kind of a mechanical feel, which in my opinion, I thought it was awesome. I liked it. I had no problem with the lack of an actual live drum. I could care less about a living meat puppet behind the kit when it comes to a band like Fear Factory. But in this case, excellent drumming by Mike Heller. The drumming sounds a lot more real on this album, and I actually like it. So I actually like that change from the previous album. One of the things I loved about Fear Factory, and they first did it on Obsolete on Resurrection, is the combination of Bert's hard vocals and clean vocals. And I always thought that was good. Now the song Protomech brings that back. Pretty awesome. You get it in little snippets here. And again, another catchy as hell chorus. They really went out of their way to work on hooks and grooves. And Bert really worked on his voice on this album. You can tell. Fear Factory in the past, in my opinion, have released albums that are like two sides. And for those of you old enough to remember cassettes and records, you have to flip the side. It's kind of what I mean. Side one, side two. In my opinion, the first half of The Manufacturer was amazing, while the second half, it kind of tapered off. Obsolete, I felt, first half of the album was weaker than the second half. I felt that album just got better as it went along. That, I felt. Again, Genexus, first half of the album was pretty good, and it's what you've come to expect from Fear Factory, I would say. And Fear Factory is not one of those bands where you really want them to go outside of their box too much. They're very good at what they do, and they should stick to it. But they really added a little more elements here. And once the second half of the album kickstarts with the title track, Genexus, I mean, wow. That's all I can say. Fear Factory, in my opinion, has released great title track songs, from Demanufacture to Obsolete, and Genexus is no exception. And from the beginning of this track, from the rest of the album, it gets a little bit interesting. Genexus was pretty awesome. More badass keyboards from Reese Fulber. Towards the end of this album, you start to feel where the story is going. And the song Regenerate is just, it's excellent. It might even be my favorite song on the album. I don't know just yet. But it has almost like a Devin Townsend feel to it. And it just freaking rocks. I mean, just take a listen. Totally makes the listener feel what the story is getting to at that point, and I feel that that's amazing. And that's another thing about this album, is that, like other Fear Factory albums, you just feel the story flow along with it, and it's incredible. I mean, this pre-chorus here is really catchy. It's got like hardcore elements to it. Bert almost sounds like Freddie Madball in this song. Song about rebirth and regeneration. I mean, this song definitely captures the essence of the story. I finally found new ground, breathing new life now. I will regenerate. Which leads into the battle for Utopia. Again, totally feel the story with this track, and it's got classic Fear Factory elements. I mean, a classic Fear Factory breakdown. Bert's clean vocals actually remind me of Soul of a New Machine with the pitch he uses on this song. I thought that was really And then with Expiration Date, you always expect like an ambience, kind of slow outro to a Fear Factory album. And while this song is sort of along the same vein as what we've come to expect, it actually offers a lot more experimental. I'm afraid to use the word pop-like, but that's what it's like. I mean, it really works, and I don't find myself ending the album prematurely like I do on most of their albums, where I could skip the ambient track. Our life extension, we're living for our exploration. Now, if you got the deluxe edition of the CD, you get 2 extra bonus tracks here. Mandatory Sacrifice is a Genexus remix done by none other than Al Jorgensen himself. And Enhanced Reality, I would say, is more of an experimental song, more of a Bert experimental song, probably something that he wanted to do. It's hit or miss. But for the meat of the album, I mean, the 10 tracks, they're all solid. In my opinion, Genexus is the best album Fear Factory has released since Dino rejoined. I like it better than both Mechanized and The Industrialist. And honestly, after I listen to it some more, it's probably going to be one of my favorite Fear Factory albums of all time. It's probably going to be right up there with Obsolete and Manufacture. I mean, it's that good. Very impressed with the vocals. Also impressed with how Dino was able to compose such poppy, but at the same time heavy songs. And this album is just awesome. And I can't wait to see him live. Now, with Tony Campos into the fold, Fear Factory seems like a complete machine once again. And I'm totally down with Tony being in the lineup. I mean, he was with Dino in Assassino, so they've already played together. They have history together. He's a perfect fit for the band. Not to mention, played with Static X, toured with Ministry. Perfect fit for the band. So can't wait to see him come around live. But if anyone was on the fence about this album, just listen to these snippets. Check it out. Album fucking rocks. Later.
Nation is the essence of